Hey, what's up, guys? Warm welcome again to my channel. All right, so in this video, we're gonna be focusing on setting up all the attributes and elements that we're gonna need for registering users within the system. Now, there's quite a lot of things that we're gonna need to do, but I'll explain a lot of them while as we build the application. So, or our setup. So, what we're gonna do first is create another package here within our what you call it within our app here. So I'm first going to create a folder there called models, and then within here I'm going to create a user class. Okay, so now within this user class, we're going to set up all the fields that we're going to need, but they have to be the same as what we did within our database. So if you just quickly log in there and let's say use it. All right, that's our DB name there. So I'm just going to copy that and then paste it there. All right, so show columns from users. All right, so these are our columns over here, and what we're going to do is replicate all the columns that we did here within our user class. So within here, the first field I'm going to create is the ID. I'm just going to copy that and then paste it a couple of times. Now, guys, I'm gonna pause the video now. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary for you guys to watch me doing all of this, but I'll show you guys what we did. But like I said, we're just gonna replicate everything that we did within our users table. So just give me a sec there. All right, guys, I'm done with the setup of our user class. So like I said, all the fields that you see here are basically a replica of our columns here within our users database. So we have the first name, the last name, the email, the password, the user type, verification token, active, verified, verified on. And just for convenience, I named all of these fields exactly the same way I named my columns within our users table there. All right, so now with this being done, the other thing we need to do is add some validations, annotations to our fields over here. Now, the first one I'm going to do is the ID field. Though I don't need to do this since we're not using Spring Data JPA, but I'm going to add it just so you know um, as to why I'm what you call it. I'm going to add it just so you know. I'll explain later on as to why I'm adding it. So, and then from here, I'm going to say at not blank. And then with this, we can also add a message within here and say um, the first the first name field is required. Okay, and then the other annotation we can add on to here is size. And then we can say something like minimum will equal to at least 3 characters. And then we can also add a message within that and say the first name field has to be more than 3 characters. Okay, so now this is practically going to be the same with the last name field. So I'm just going to copy and paste that and say last name, last name, and then the email field, same thing. It cannot be blank, and then I can remove this. There's another annotation that I'm going to add onto here, but first let's do this. So the email field must is required. Let me just pass in there, and then same goes for the password. We're going to use the same type of annotation. What else? Okay. Uh, um, okay, so these we don't need to annotate them because by default they're already going to have values. So the main important ones are these three over here. I mean, are the first name field, last name field, email, and password. Now the there is a regular expression that I want to add. I'm going to just copy and paste it here for the email. Okay, so with this regular expression here, we're basically trying to validate the email. So the email has to be of a specific regular expression, and so that's what I'm doing here. And then obviously we added another a message here to say that they need to enter a valid email just in case if they put in the incorrect email address. Right. With that being said, we can now create our getters and setters. I want to say generate getter and setters. Then I'm going to select everything there and then click OK. All right. So now we're done with our getters and setters. Now the other thing that I need to create here within our controllers is a controller advisor. So now with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say click. I'm going to say just going to name it advisor controller. All right, and then I'm going to name it at um, controller advice. So now within here, I'm going to create a model attribute. Model attribute, and then I'm going to say register user, and then I'll say public um, public. I think I'm going to say uh, user, and then say set all user defaults. Then import the class, and then all right. So with here, I'll return new user. All right, so let me explain what I'm doing here. So with this model attribute, we're gonna use this model attribute to bind our registration form, which is gonna be within the add user form. So the controller advisor is just where's my controller advisor now? Oh yeah, the controller advisor is just there so that we can be able to globally pick up this register user model attribute within our JSP. And then with that being said, the other thing that we're gonna need to create within here is let me see, I think it's our oh yes, let me first configure the JSP file. So now within our JSP file, this is the add user for page for the admins. So now here at the top, I need to add a tag lib. So now I'm gonna copy the two tag libs that we're gonna need within our page here at the top. All right. So now with this being done, this tag lib over here that you see prefixed with the form tag, we're going to use that to modify our form in a specific way. I'll show you now. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is scroll down over here. And then what I'm going to first add is the model attribute, right? And then the name for the model attribute needs to be exactly the same as what we created here within our controller advisor. So I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to paste it there. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify our form now like that. So with this, we're using this tag lib at the top here that we created. This is for we are using Spring tags to so that we are able to bind our form to the model attribute over there. So now I have to change the input fields, and then that's going to change from name to path. And then the input field here is going to also change. If I'm not mistaken, I need to say form and then input tag. And then I need to also make sure that I close it here. Otherwise, it's going to give us an issue. All right, so this, and then I'm going to have to change that to CSS class. All right, and then the rest can stay the same. And then we can also keep the type, though we don't need to. By default, it's going to create this as a type of text, but yeah, we can keep it there. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did here within our form, within our input field with the rest of the fields. So I'm just going to pause the video quickly and then just do that. All right, guys, so I've done setting up the form. So just to recap, um, we are using this Spring, what you call it, tag lib for our user registration form. And the reason for that, like I said, is that we're gonna need to use that to bind our form to our user model that we created over here. So now, just to show you, there's a couple of changes. Now, remember we had a user type options list. So I've changed that. As you can see, I've commented it out. So this won't display, and then I've created the one for Spring MVC. So for the Spring MVC one, you have to create the form tag lib and then say select, if I'm not mistaken, and then say items. So these items that you see here, the user types. Now this is going to also come from our model attribute, of which we need to recreate within here. So what I'll do is I'll say add model attribute, and then again it needs to be the same name as what we put in our form. So it's user underscore types, right? And then from there on, what we're gonna return is public list, and then we're gonna say get user types. All right, let me just import this. All right. No, actually, I'm wrong here. I need to create a diamond operator there. All right. So within here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say list of type string, and then we're gonna say user type equals to new array list, and then we're gonna just say user type dot add. We're gonna say admin, and then also we're gonna say user type dot add. We're gonna say user. Then we're just gonna return um, user type. All right, so that's our user type attribute model attribute. So like I said, this name here needs to be exactly the same as what we put in there as our items. So I'm just gonna copy and repaste it there just to be sure. Okay, so the other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's it. Let me just refresh. So yeah, by the way, remember that the form tag here, the way the form begins, also when wherever the form ends, which is down here, it needs to end the same way. So you need to make sure you put that there at the end. Hopefully I've made sense with this. So remember guys, all my input fields have changed. So I added that form taglet there at the beginning, and then of type input. I don't need to put that there, or actually for the password I need to do that. Otherwise by default it's just going to create a text field. So that we can leave. And then the path itself, as you can see, it changes from name to path. Now, since we have a confirm field over here, here within our user model, we also need to add that within, so that we can add what you call it, validation annotation to it. So within here, I'll say private string, and then confirm uh, password. I'm just gonna name it the exact same thing as what we named it there. And that, sorry, I need to put that above that annotation. Okay, and then same thing here. We're gonna copy that annotation and then put it above the confirm password field. So confirm password field is required, and then we're gonna create a getter for this one, just for that, and say okay. Let me just copy these and then just put them right after the password. Okay, so that's basically it for our configuration for our form. Then the other thing that we need to do is within the form field here, the action needs to be admin and then add user, right? Save that there. So we're gonna come back within the admin controller, and then remember right below it we're gonna add a post mapping, and then obviously the name will be the same. So remember, since we already have a request mapping there of admin, we just have to add that add user there. That's all. And then I'm gonna say public. Again, I'm gonna say model and view, and say add user. Okay. Now, since we added a model attribute within the model advisor here, now within this form, what we need to do is there within the parameters, the first thing we'll add is add valid, and then we're gonna say add model attribute, and then again it needs to be the same as what we put in within our form field over there, and also within our advisor over there. Uh, so what I'll do is, sorry, I'm gonna copy that name there just to be sure. And then right after that, we're gonna say user and then user. And then right after it, we're gonna say bind or binding result. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. And I'm gonna say that then say result. Okay. So now I'm just gonna go one line down so that we can see what we're doing there. So now at the request parameter, what we're gonna say request param, and then obviously the first one is going to be first name, and then which is going to be string first name. Now again, this request parameter here is exactly what's uh, showing here within the input field here where it says first name. So whatever you put in within this parameter here, it has to be exactly as what you have on the what you call it on the form. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing for the other fields there. All right, so I've completed my fields over there, or all the request parameters that we're gonna need. Now, because we have this binding result over here, with this, we can then now do an if statement over here and say if result dot has errors. What we'll do here is model. Let me just set it up before um, get no no add user view which will equal to um, and then with that I can say I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna return this particular view over here. So we're gonna return to the user page, and then it'll display those errors over there. Uh, uh, else is gonna return um, all right, so with that being set up there, what I need to now do here is what you call it, display. We're going to display the errors that are supposed to show within the user controller. So I'm going to start up the server and then just test this out. So let me just double check here. So we are posting to the correct route over there, add user, which is going to come here to this post mapping. It's going to check all of these, all of the parameters, and then if there are any errors, it's then going to show, it's then going to return to the add user, what you call it, view, with those errors. So I'm just going to run the server, pause the video for now and run the server, and then we're going to test it out. Oh, by the way, guys, my apologies. The first thing I need to do here within the admin dashboard is to change our URL links. So over here, as you can see, we still have those static HTML links that we created when in the markup stage. So we need to first then say admin, and then dashboard, and then also here the same thing. We're gonna just remove that HTML tag, and then we'll say um, admin, and then add user. Okay, I think that's all we need if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so let me run the server again, and then yeah, we'll test out our form. All right, guys, we're back. The server is up and running, and okay, I'm not gonna lie, I tested the application while the video was paused, and I encountered some issues. So firstly, the options list for our user types. One thing I forgot to add was the path, or the name, the user type, and then the other thing is that since we're getting this through the request scope, we need to put this within either JSTL tags, or within, or using the expression tag. So if you are following along and you're encountering issues, just rectify that for our items here. So remember, these items is getting them through the user type um, model attribute that we created here within our controller advice. And then also remember to add the the path here, the user type path, because that's how we are getting the value here within our admin controller, and then I also changed it there to user type. Initially it was user types. So I already ran the application and checked it. So here's our login form, and then again, as you can see, we are getting our user type, admin and user, of which we are retrieving through that model attribute that we created here within the controller advice. So with that being said, we can then now test and see if our errors are going to show. So now remember, what's required is the first name, last name, email, along with the passwords. So if I were to try and submit the form, oh, my apologies again. We do need to add, we do need to add our errors right beneath the form elements there. Okay, so for the errors, what we need to do is we need to do the exact same thing we did with the form element tags here. So what I'll do is let me just do that there. So I'll say form and then errors and then path. It has to be the same as what you've set up there. So since we're in the last name field, I'm going to copy that. Then I'll say last name. And then since we can also add a CSS class to this so that it displays the color in red. So I'll say text. I'm going to use a Bootstrap class called saying text danger, and then with that it should give us a reddish color. So yeah, I forgot to add these tags over here so that our errors can display within our form. So I'm going to now quickly just copy all of this and then just paste it over there, and then change that from first name last name to first name, and then do the exact same thing for the rest of the elements. Let's copy that. Say um, uh, that's for the password, and then also for the password again. So I'll just copy that password and then copy that, and then also say confirm password. I need to do the same thing for our options list here. User type option list. Copy that. Say password. All right, I'm gonna run it again. Hopefully we've done everything we need. I'm just gonna pause the video again and then I'll be back to show you guys. All right, guys, the server is up, so let's check our registration form. Just gonna refresh. All right, so if I click add user there, now as you can see, our errors are now showing, except for the user type list over there. But as you can see, these error messages are what we set up within our user model attribute here. Our user class here. So the first name field is required. The first name field has to be more than 3 characters. So that's exactly what we are seeing over there. Now I just want to double check here well, actually let's leave that for now. So let's say I put in some dummy text, and let me just create um, a false email over there. All right, so as you can see, it recognizes that that is not a valid email address, and so it gives us that error message there. Please enter a valid email. And how we know that our regular expression is working is that is through this here. So it basically checks this regular expression, and because that email is not valid, it then brings up this this message over here where it says please enter a valid email address. If I were to put in a correct one over there and try to submit again, as you can see, all the errors go away. But had I not put in the correct email address and tried to post the film again, um, you know what, let me remove. Okay, but in any case, you saw the error message, it was incorrect. So if I were to do that, it's not gonna work. So now here we both need the confirm password field and and the normal password field. So now the one thing I want to check is this user type field here, because for some odd reason it's not showing its error message. So if you come back here, just gonna stop the server and close it up there. So if we come back down here, font select errors, user type, path is user type. Oh, the reason it's not showing an error is because by default it's already selected a user type, so that is why it's not showing an email address. And then the other thing I want to modify is the email field. So what I'll do is I'm gonna remove this here, just so that we are sure that our regular expression is working over there. So I'm gonna run the server again. Okay, the server is up. Let's check our form again. So with this here, let me just refresh. All right, so with this here, I'm just gonna put in some fake data, and then all right, so if I do that, it's gonna say please enter a valid email address, because the regular expression is now checking. Now I did remove, remember I did remove the email type, the email, what you call it, the email type attribute off of the email field. So then now it's going to give us, it's going to use our regular expression to check whether or not this is a valid email. And then another thing, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there is an annotation for email. So if I say that, yeah, there it is actually. So we can also add that, so that um, so that Spring can check whether or not that is a valid email, and then also use that attribute of, I mean, that regular expression there to check whether or not we are entering a valid email. So I guess that's it for now, guys. Let me just double check again. Yeah, so if you put in the correct password and all of that, wait, I'm gonna stop the server, then come back within here. So remember, if it passes all of the errors, we then want to add a success message. So what I'll do is add user view dot add object, and then I'm going to say um, registration success, and then here we'll add the message user added successfully. Okay, and then close it off there. All right, so since we have that, now within here, um, at the top of the form, I think we can add. Oh, by the way, this is the other reason why I added this tag lib over here, which is the JSTL core tag. So with that, what we can do is we can create a success message here. So we can say copy that. So with this, we can say see if, and then we can say test, which equals to I'm gonna use a regular expression, so I'll say request scope dot we're gonna get our message there. So we're gonna say request scope registration success. If that is not equal to null, we can then display our error message. So what I'll do is I'll add a div there. So div, and then I'm gonna give it a bootstrap class. I'm gonna say class, and then alert, and then alert success. And then within here, what I'll do is display the message that we get from our attribute over there. So I'm gonna copy this and then just paste it there. And just gonna add another class just to make sure that it's centered. And then actually I want it in bold, so I'll do this and then paste it there. So um so I'm gonna just rerun the server again so that we can see if that error the success message will display or not. Right, the server is up, so let's just test and see if our form is still working. All right, so as soon as we satisfy all the requirements, I'll just say password and then just say password over there, and then obviously that is fine, and then let's see if it will return it. Okay, so it works. So basically once we satisfy all of the requirements, we were then able to return back to the add user page, and it showed our success message there. All right, so yeah, I guess that's it for the time being in terms of our registration form. We've got everything that we need. By the way, guys, just remember to end the C tag there. I forgot to actually end it there, but I added it once while the video was paused. So just remember to do that on our error message there. So yeah, like I said, guys, that's it for the video. In the next movie, we will be looking into registering our first user, and I'll explain all the rest within that video going forward from here. Apologies again. The video took longer than I had anticipated, but yeah, what can we do? But in any case, if you guys enjoyed what you've seen so far, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate any support, and again, guys, I'll see you guys within the next movie. All right, cheers for now.